Why are Europeans so susceptible to guilt? One explanation is that all cultures have a foundation myth that tells them who they are, and the foundation myth of modern Europeans is simply a negative one. How does one recognize a foundation myth? First, it must fulfill three functions. 1. It explains the origin and structure of the world and society around it. 2. It defines ultimate good and evil, and from those definitions are derived the values that are used to justify the holding of power. 3. It determines what is held sacred in that society. For modern Westerners, the story of World War II has become their foundation myth. It fulfills all three functions. 1. We live in the post-war world. The lines on the map, the institutions, the sense of what era we live in, all arise from the starting point of World War II. Second, ultimate evil is Nazism. Ultimate good is opposing Nazism. The values derived from these definitions are anti-racism, equality, diversity, anti-nationalism, and so on. Thirdly, the only thing that is held sacred that cannot be denied or mocked in the contemporary West is the Holocaust. The problem is that all three functions are backwards or negative. Instead of the originating event being one of fertility and new life, it was a conflagration of death and destruction. Instead of ultimate good taking the central position in the story, that slot is occupied by some ultimate evil, known as Adolf Hitler, holding the center point of the World War II story. Instead of that which is held sacred being something mysterious and sublime, the Holocaust is simply an obscenity. Having a negative foundation myth means the tree of life for Westerners is poisoned. People don't realize it, but the bounds of allowable thought and the orientation of ideas are all downstream from this mythos. As long as our understanding of who we are is determined by this negative foundation myth, the only direction is down and eventually extermination. The power of mythology, in modern global corporate terms, of ad branding, is no trivial thing. Lose your founding myth and you lose your identity. What has happened to white Westerners is worse. We have not just lost our identity, but we have been shackled to a corrosive, malignant one that threatens to subsume us in self-annihilationism. We have our new founding mythology, and it requires endless sacrifice with no hope of glory. How fucking depressing. There's a Holocaust museum or Holocaust memorial in most US cities, small and large, which you will stumble upon if you visit long enough. Even small-town America, Jewish population under 0%, has Holocaust memorials scattered about. And why? It didn't happen here. Americans had no knowledge or no participation in it, yet we bend the collective knee to its awesome allure and pay our shame geld to its rabbinic overseers. The subtext to this is that the prime function of Holocaustianity isn't memorialization, it's the flexing of power. And unlike Europe, Holocaustianity isn't America's first or foremost negative foundational neo-myth. That honor goes to slavery and the Civil War, the origin and structure of the negative myth, the South being the ultimate evil, Lincoln the sacred figure. It is all coalesced into a new civic religion to give de-Christianized SWPL libshit whites the opportunity to feel the divine pull of a higher calling. So Heritage America is getting socked with two negative foundation myths, while at the same time dispossession and redaction of the real positive American mythic figures continues to grow apace. And when you add to all of this millions of advertisements, documentaries, Hollywood movies, comic book narratives, and what your grade 3 teacher told you, your brain has been polluted with an unending stream of self-nihilistic prophecy. This agenda is purely hatred. It is the indoctrination that precedes real genocide. And if an acute awareness to its existence is not obtained shortly, there will not be a single true-blooded European left on Earth within 100 years.